I appreciate that. For now, though, all of the topics that I want to teach about in that book, I'm going to be teaching about here. So that gives me a chance to kind of consolidate the information so that when I write it, it's better, but also so that I can see what lands. Like that's what I did with the first one. I just did the seminars and I was like, oh, people responded when I said da da da, so let me write that down because that worked well. So we're going to do the same here. So today's topic, phone health and hygiene. Phone health and hygiene, not phone health and hygiene, like separately. The two are going to be together. So when I say the word health to you, what are the first things that come to mind? Sleep, physical, like physical health. What else? Food, mental health. Concentration. We're going to talk about that. Yeah, absolutely. Stress, relaxation, stress management, that kind of world. Those are the general topics that I expected you to say, because that's what we talk about a lot here, right? Those kind of topics. Now what I want to do is branch out into the world of health that is much broader. So when I say health, I imagine you don't automatically think phones and technology, am I right? But actually, they probably have made a difference in some way. We're going to talk about how that might be. So to begin with, I want to know, what are the biggest technological advancements you have seen in your lifetime so far? What's changed the most? Everything. Phones. Phones are the big one, right? Computers. Internet. You had the internet generally. Yeah, microwaves, dishwashers, washing machines. Everything's quicker, everything's faster. Trains were the one that I put up here. You know, we've got the fast, high-speed trains. Yeah, absolutely. Air travel, train travel, cars, everything, right? Even somebody in the last session that I did said maps. Maps, the ability to... Yeah. I can read a map. I mean, I can read a map. I don't need to read a map, and I have never had to read a map to drive somewhere. I can't even imagine what that would be like. But when Denise in the last class said that, I didn't even really think it. You know what I mean? What else? What other things have changed? Information, yeah, absolutely. How we get the information itself has changed. How we gather and search for it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, immediate. Yeah, absolutely. And now you can get news in so many different ways. Like beforehand, it was a selection of stations that you would have had to watch, whereas now people get news from social media, people get news from YouTube and just a range of different sources. And like, if we're talking about information generally, someone doing what I do however long ago didn't really exist. Like nobody was kind of gathering information themselves and then dispersing it unless they came from a source, you know, like an educational source or company. Food.
Well, the availability. I mean, when I was a child, it was cabbage, carrots, seasonal. But nothing seasonal anymore. They all had blueberries for breakfast and strawberries 365 days a year now.
Yeah.
It's a changed world. Really.
Yeah, absolutely. And the food itself is very different because, you know, now it's no longer just the humble blueberry or whatever it is from the ground straight away and then it goes off within a few days. It's an engineered type of food that is made for us to enjoy more of for longer, that will last longer, that they can ship around the world, right? So yeah, so overall, it's not even just technology that has changed, but rather everything around the world, and technology has greatly moved everything forwards. The question is that entirely a good thing? Because we could definitely argue that life has gotten better in some ways, right? Name a few ways that life has gotten better. All right, life is pretty good. It's not, you know, in terms of information, we are generally, yeah, we have more information. Healthcare. Healthcare is a big one and has come a long way. This is true, this is true. So the information is kind of a double-edged sword. Like on one hand, great, we have all this information. On the other hand, how do I sort through it and how do I know it's accurate? And, you know, too much information can be a bad thing, right? So let's specify a little bit. When did you get your first phone and what phone was it?
Oh, it was like a home phone. It was like a brick. My mobile phone. The first mobile phone. It was huge.
How long ago was that?
Oh gosh, probably when they first came out, I suppose. How long ago was that?
The 90s?
Yeah.
I'm guessing? Yeah.
When I was about 23.
23.
About 23.
And what was it?
It wasn't a Nokia 3310.
Mm.
That was my posh one. It was like a Philips.
Okay, I got you.
Thing.
But it was thick, wasn't it?
It was a big Philips.
Yeah.
And we kind of had one for the family that we shared, and you took it out in the car for emergencies.
What else? What other phones?
Well, our house phone, I remember this way of one of my girls,
Mm.
and we came banging probably, didn't have to go up my dad, and made him get us a phone. He said, we'll put a box by the telephone box, but if we make a call on this phone home, we will always put the money in, didn't we? Never, ever. We got a phone, I think I was about 14 when we first got a landline.
Mm.
It was a party line then as well.
I don't know. I don't even know what that means.
Well, that's the share.
Shared it with somebody else.
So if you picked your phone up and
Yeah.
there was somebody else talking on it, then you had to.
Oh, right.
Two people had one line. Or listening. Yeah, or listening. No, I didn't do that.
I only know about that from shows from the 90s. Is that bad? In the last class I did, they were telling me about, obviously on like rotary phones,
That's what
one of their like parents put like a restriction on it, yeah, like a lock, but then they learnt how to get under it and do the clicks instead. Oh, right. Yeah.
There was a phone box just round the corner, and I used to tap, and I used to get 3 calls every time. It was an A and B button. Do you remember that? You probably won't.
Yes, I do remember. You used to go out and press the two together and you could
And
get
then
three
you
calls.
tapped the number out. So if it was 5, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a little break, then do the next number, and always got 3 calls.
Interesting.
Because we were in Cornwall, there's still lots of phone boxes, but they
Yeah, exactly.
whereas now they've got defibs in or
Right.
Libraries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess nowadays you don't need
Don't need
them because we have.
But if you wanted to ring your friends in private or something, you'd go to the phone box.
Mm.
Or if I wanted to lift home, I'd do reverse charges.
I don't even know what that means.
So the parents pay.
Oh, okay.
They have to accept it. They have
Got
to
you.
accept it.
Got you. Okay. So even in my reactions to you telling me about this, we can see how much things have changed and progressed. And look, like this is the phone that I have, and this was close to the first phone that I had. Yeah. Yeah. And you could hurt someone if you dropped it on them. You know, you could do some damage.
Also, you could walk about. You used to have a telephone table, didn't you? Because you had to sit. So, like, I can't get over now how people are in shops, they're doing this, driving, all talking on their phones, but your call was always very private because it would be in the hall.
Right.
And like my mother-in-law, she wouldn't sit in the hall at night because it was too cold because they didn't have heating.
Right.
You know, so the phone has, really,
Yeah. It's
really
become
changed.
a public thing rather than a private thing to a degree.
And
Interesting.
it's a nuisance.
Yeah. Interesting.
I can remember a friend's mobile phone was literally on a block, and it was very similar to that, and he had to carry it around on a block.
Mm.
But that was his mobile. It was huge, massive. You do. That was probably the first mobile phone I ever saw.
It's funny that that's called a mobile phone.
Yeah.
So you get my point, right? Things have changed a great deal in not a very long stretch of time, right? Because now this phone right here, this phone that I'm filming on right now, is so incredibly powerful. It is insane. Like, I'm filming right now in 4K, an hour and however long video. Then I can do a whole range of different tricks and stuff to chop it up into short videos and then post those, and then, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy, and that's just one element of this phone. It's crazy what you can achieve now. Like, we're just talking about what I'm doing for my business and all that stuff. Most of it, doing it from my phone. Like, I can run a business with that one piece of technology, which is insane. But it is my belief that, or actually we can kind of see it in the world, that the technology around us, especially phones, but the technology around us has evolved so quickly that we almost can't keep up. And I think a lot of what we're going to look at today demonstrates that, because it's almost as if we need to learn how to have a healthy relationship with the technology around us. And I think what we're going to look at next will demonstrate that. So the next part is about screen time, the amount of time we spend on the screens, whether that be phones or iPads or laptops. The global daily average screen time is 4 hours and 45 minutes. 4 hours and 45 minutes. 3 hours and 46 minutes is spent on a smartphone. But remember, this is the global average, so there's higher and there's lower. The UK average is 4.5 hours. The US average is 6 hours and 40 minutes.
I must be American then.
The South African average, 9 hours and 27 minutes. That's the highest, 9 hours and 27 minutes. And the lowest is Japan with 3 hours and 57. So you can see that we are spending a significant amount of our time on phones. Now, obviously, there's always been things that we have been addicted to and used heavily throughout time. But if somebody, let's say in the 70s, was spending 7 hours a day looking at something, you would be quite concerned, I imagine. Am I right? But now, that's very normal. And I think that we need to pay attention to this, because it is a growing problem. Like the other day, I did the first session here a couple weeks ago, and the numbers were around this level. 6 hours, 5 hours, 7, maybe pushing 8. But when I did this for a youth group last week, I was getting 11, 12, 15 hours a day for some of them. So, this is an important topic for people of all ages, but particularly, people who grew up with this technology. Like, for me, my phone is an integral part of my life, which I don't really like, but I also grew up with it. So for me, my entire life has been integrated into that phone, like weaved together. But now my phone usage is different. I still use it maybe more than I'd like, but nowadays it's less things like social media, which used to take up a lot more of that time and was rather bad for me in a lot of ways. So if anybody feels comfortable, if you have a look at your phone, what is your screen time?
I use it quite a bit. I've got puzzles that I do in the morning.
Yeah.
Word puzzles and things like that can take a while. And I do those daily. And I listen to a lot of music. I'm not a social media.
Okay, so you're using the phone for activities and music and stuff like that, which I do think, yeah, I get you. But I do think that that's different to if I am simply just scrolling for 10 hours. That there is a big difference there. Are you on Android? So if you go to, there's like a parental control area. It's easier on the iPhone to find it.
Digital well-being and parental that digital well-being.
My screen time today was 34 minutes.
Okay. What, do you mind if I?
No, no, no.
Thank you. What is your average?
Go to settings. It was settings. Digital airways.
Okay, so last week,
Digital Oh, thank you.
so your average, like the highest that I can see here is 6 hours 20. Then it goes to 5.5, 6, 4.5, 3.5. So I'd say your average is probably about 5 hours. Yeah, from looking at this. So,
But I do everything.
but that's the thing, right? We spend so much time in there because we've made these little worlds in there where we do all of our stuff, whether that's banking or shopping or business stuff or filming or whatever it may be.
But it's easy to use it as an excuse because you can end up just scrolling
Yeah,
rubbish.
easily.
I just want to go, what are you doing? I go, oh, I'm reading my emails.
Yeah, no, and it's easy, right? You could just end up looking at nonsense, rubbish. But you could also use it for good stuff too, right? Yeah. There's a dichotomy there, right? Have we found it yet? Okay. Do you want to? Nah. You just look. Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get you. Okay, so don't worry, we will find your screen time. We'll find out what it is. But what I want to know now is how much do you feel like you rely on your phone? More than, let's get a general consensus. How many of you would say more than you'd like? How many of you would say a healthy amount? Okay. And how many of you would say less than you'd think the average would be? Okay. So I'm not trying to judge here, because again, my screen time is relatively high. I use it more than I'd like. I'm trying to practice taking breaks from it, leaving it places. Going out the house without it can be rather anxiety provoking, which is something that I don't like to admit, but it can be. If I leave the house, I'm like, oh, I need to go back. Or like yesterday, I went to the shop and I left my phone in the car and I was like, oh, it's fine. I don't need it for 20 seconds. And it was like, oh, I don't have my wallet. That's how I'm gonna pay for things. So in every way, we've just integrated these phones into our life. It's become a thread, right? So let's look at how phones can impact our health. So I've got some information for us. In a Norwegian study of 45,000 students, they found that each extra hour of screen use in bed was linked to a 59% higher odd of insomnia. 59% higher chance of insomnia and 24 minutes less sleep per hour. So per hour that I spend on my phone in bed later, I'm more likely to sleep 24 minutes less, and there's a 59% higher chance that I'm going to suffer from insomnia. So linking the phones to sleep.
So when I listen to that, like the sleeping meditation, does that still include that?
No, that's,
Okay, so
you're
I'll just
okay
leave
there.
it, yeah,
No,
okay,
you're
thank
okay
you.
there. Across 71 studies and 98,000 people, heavier short-form video use is associated with poor attention and self-control. Poor attention and self-control. Short-form video use being short-form content that we scroll through quite quickly. They could be seconds or minutes long, but really they are short videos that are punchy most of the time. And actually, that's become a whole art form. If you go on social media, every content creator has hooks and things that draw you in and hold your attention. Like, I think the thing that I am always thinking about is that if your attention Well, your attention is valuable. That's kind of the main thing. Your attention is valuable. So these companies do what they can to take your attention from you. It doesn't even necessarily need to be companies, people, individuals, creators who are doing these things, right? And it's not that they're doing anything with an ill intention, but all of the people are on these little blocks on social media or whatever, so that's where their attention is, so that's where they go to. I even myself feel a little bit conflicted about doing all this filming. Because, you know, like I said, I've just hired my first employee. And one of his jobs is going to be starting to post on social media to grow the business that I'm doing. And you know, that's the exact thing that I like to tell myself to make myself feel better. And I appreciate that, and you're right, like I do feel like I'm putting out a good service. However, there is still a part of me that goes, well, I'm feeding into this machine where people are captivated and stuck to their phones, which I guess it's part of the game now, but I don't always feel good about it. You know what I mean? That's the problem.
Extent, as much as I'd like to eat a lot more healthy, it isn't there. I'm no good at growing it, so
You do what you
don't
can.
have a choice.
You make do. Yeah,
So
you're right. You are
you
right.
have to do this, and it is good. So.
Yeah, it's tricky. It is tricky. Okay, in a study of 390 phones across the UK, 92% carried bacteria, and 1 in 6 carried E. coli, which, if you don't know, is mainly found in fecal matter. This was done by the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine and Queen Mary University of London.
Because the general population, people that they chemicals, teenagers
I think it was a broad spectrum. They did it across the whole of the UK. But don't get me wrong, bacteria is very broad. So 92% carrying bacteria isn't necessarily surprising. But what was surprising was that they found that nearly every single person who owned the phones that they were looking at continuously washed their hands with soap. And so what that tells you is that even though they were washing their hands and were clean, their phones still carried a mass amount of bacteria, and some of them not great bacteria as well. In a study on Austrian students, after reducing screen time to below 2 hours per day for 3 weeks, stress levels fell, insomnia fell, depressive symptoms fell, and overall well-being improved. This was directly reported by the people who they were studying. These people reported that they felt better. And actually, the group that I was teaching last week, the youth group, a couple of them said that they have been leaving their phone at home and that they've been feeling so much better for it. I generally feel the same as well. And then lastly, prolonged daily phone usage is associated with roughly double the odds of neck pain, which makes sense because how do we look at our phones? Down here. So this whole part of our neck is essentially at risk. And you feel that too. If you've had a heavy day on your phone, looking down, you feel the effects that has, right? So what are your thoughts on what we're seeing here?
For me, I think I'm very lucky because I do use when I go to bed, I tend to look at things, I do a couple of puzzles at night. But when I put my phone down, I can just go to sleep.
Which is lucky.
I'm very, very lucky
Yeah.
with the sleep.
Mm.
So it's very rare I have a night where I can't sleep, and that's not because of my phone.
Yeah. Well, I guess the question is as well, you know, what are they doing on their phone before bed? Because you're right, maybe meditation and listening to music and maybe like a game could be better than going on social media or like watching the news.
And the number of kids, literally, they cannot keep their eyes open. And you speak to them and they've all been on their phones and they can't sleep, so they're
Yeah.
on their phones, but they can't, and it's a real circle.
Yeah.
But they're literally falling asleep and listening. It's
How old are
crazy.
they?
I work in secondary school.
Right.
So
So worse because they're in secondary school. Yeah. Well, let me scare you a little bit more. Phones and children. 98% of 2-year-olds in England look at screens daily. 98% of 2-year-olds. Now, granted, that includes all screens, and that also includes, passive, the TV is on, mum and dad are watching something. But that also includes iPads and phones and games and stuff like that. 2-year-olds we're talking about. 28% of UK children starting reception cannot use a physical book correctly. What will they try and do instead? They'll try and scroll the book. This is reported by a lot of the teachers across the UK.
That's got to be doing to the parents. I'm sorry, it's got to be doing
Well, for sure.
to allow them to have these screens at that age.
But then it's even, yeah, well, there's that. But it's also, I think the same thing when it comes to nutrition, right? So like, we talk about you should eat this, you should eat that, you should give your children good food. But if the parents don't know how to eat well themselves, they're not going to teach their children how to eat well because they just don't know. But it's the same with this, if you don't realize that the phones could have a negative impact on them, and it's easy to get them to be quiet, and also you use your phone maybe more yourself than you should, then it's only natural that your kids are going to take up the same kind of patterns of behavior. Nearly 25% of children and young people use their smartphones in a way that is consistent with a behavioral addiction. Despite age limits, 90% of children aged 8 to 12 said that they used at least one social media app that is for ages 13 and above. So being able to skirt around those restrictions seems to be quite easy. I feel like you probably have experienced this. Yeah. So my point really is that it's kind of, it's got a knock-on effect. It's not just, adults who are benefiting and then also suffering drawbacks from technology, specifically phones, social media, all that stuff. But it's having a knock-on effect down on children as young as like babies, like young children. So, and the question then is, what effect is this going to have on them going forwards? So in the next session that we're going to do in a few weeks' time, we're going to go through more behavioral addiction type stuff. And we're going to talk about different areas of the brain that are affected by different behaviors and substances. And we're going to look at the connection between these kind of behaviors and then how that has a knock-on effect on your life. How you end up, enjoying other aspects of your life, and then other addictive behaviors that are potentially on the cards later down the line. Because, for example, I saw a video one time of a child in a pram. This always sits with me. And the child was in like the dark, the cover was pulled over. And in front of this child was a phone and an iPad. And this child was going like this, was scrolling both of them. So if you think about it, that child is learning how to just seek out this rush, this high almost from these videos. So in the future, nothing is going to be enough for that child. Like that child's not going to be able to concentrate. That child's not going to be able to enjoy things like maybe how they should, because all they're looking for is that next high. We're going to talk about that more in the next one, but have you seen that in schools as well?
Yeah, and I've seen it, I've got older kids, but I've also got young kids, so I've got twins that are 11 and a 13-year-old. And you even notice them we're making them sit down and watch a film, because they're so used to watching short films on YouTube, that to actually concentrate on the whole film is taking quite a while to get them to. And we noticed with my daughter in the car playing music, she can't even listen to a whole song, because you're on to the next one, you're on to the next one,
Yeah.
on to the next one. So we say, no, if you put a song on, you've got to listen to the whole thing. And we're quite on it as parents, I like to think, but it's very easy for it to spread.
And the problem then is that as time goes on, let's talk about the kids who use their phone in a behavioral addiction type of way. So now, if they are chronically on their phone, particularly on social media, and they're scrolling. The reason why we get enjoyment out of the scrolling is because we get a little rise in our dopamine levels when we feel like the next video is going to be better. The same goes for if we feel like the next song is going to be better, more enjoyable. So we skip to the next one. And then we don't quite get the rise that we're looking for, and then we skip to the next one, we skip to the next one. And so we're always constantly looking for that high. Problem is then, you come off of your phone, and now everyday life can become less enjoyable. That is something called anhedonia, which is literally where things become less enjoyable because you are chasing a very particular type of stimulus. And that's what we're going to talk about more in the next one. But it's a scary prospect. So,
Interestingly, at the school I work at, the kids hand their phones in the morning, and we give them back to them at the end of the day. And most kids that you talk to actually quite like it.
I used to work
When
in
you
a
actually
school.
really talk to them, they go, yeah, actually, it's quite
Yeah.
a good thing. Because even if they put them in their bags and turn them off, it's like that little thing, always keep going, I'm still here, I'm still here.
yeah, it's a scary thing, but good for them for recognizing.
When you actually talk to them and go, okay, they go, actually, it is a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they do recognise it.
I just want to add something about the physical books because I have two teenagers at the moment,
Yeah.
12 and 14, and it's really hard to ask them open a physical book and read because all the homework, everything is coming
online. Yeah.
and they're not used to the physical books. That's sad.
Yeah.
But when we say to them, please open a book and read it, they read for maximum 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then just leave it because it's not interesting for them.
Yeah. It's not stimulating enough.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I don't know how to change that. If it's coming from the environment, from the school, it's really difficult for me
Yeah.
to make them change and to get the
Yeah. Well, I think about it like this. Like, luckily, we have a good way of adapting to our environment. Although I don't think that our brains have really been able to keep up with these changes, hence why it's so easy to get addicted to these things. When, now, instead of reading, a lot of people listen to books. So like that's a good example of doing something a little bit different. It may not captivate everyone in the same way as maybe these short form videos do, but it's a change, it's something. So hopefully they'll find, a different route to learning the same information. But yeah, it's tricky. I understand your concerns about it.
Very easy. All the information is coming as a video
Yeah.
or even audio books.
Yeah.
Do you listen to them? This is the way how
But
they
then
know
that's a
information.
reading book rather than you're talking text, I think, aren't you, for like lessons and learning. What about if they, before they went to bed, they'd got them just as something they were interested in, like a pleasurable book?
We used to do, we had that habit until they've been in the primary school. Now,
It's very
the
difficult.
teenagers,
So you
it's
need to
really
give them
difficult.
what's it called, a reward and everything. But just to say, actually, when my boy was, I can't remember what age, I used to actually turn the internet off at night. Because that's what we have to do. Although he did in the end. And then, anyway. But that's a good thing, just to turn it off. Because they'll be there all night doing it. They don't think they are.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Yeah.
Because, like you say, even we get it. We don't even realise we're in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I can't wait, like, when even she's only going to be 6 months, obviously, at Christmas, but we've already all started finding out about books that we can get right
Yeah.
away because of it and the pop-up and everything. Like, there's animals, all those sort of things. Just get them used to reading.
Yeah.
From very, very young.
Yeah.
And hopefully, but I do think things do change when they do go to school because their peers.
Yeah.
That if they've not got a phone, their peers have got one.
Yeah.
It's difficult. It's very difficult to stop your child wanting those things when they see.
Yeah. Especially when everybody is doing it. Yeah. It makes sense too. It's a difficult thing to contend with. So what do we think? How do you think social media platforms specifically are affecting us? Why?
Gotta have. It's a
Mm.
but I've gotta have.
Yeah, so the idea of chasing the thing that other people have, chasing other people's lives, I guess, as well. Yeah.
Even like that TikTok, I mean, I've never got that. So people have done things that people have put on TikTok and injured themselves because they do stupid things.
Yeah, absolutely. So ridiculous trends and things where people get hurt and injured and stuff like that. Yeah.
I think it's changed as well. So I had Facebook for years,
Mm.
and I had got lots of family in Australia, and it was a really nice way of keeping up. And now I like it. I lost my cousin last week, but you can look back at all the little memories of times that you've got together. But it doesn't seem to be that now. When you go on it now, it's just reels of people you don't know and adverts.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
kind of lost what it was really about.
Yeah, it's lost the community aspect. Now it's just another place to see videos.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got a few prompts down here. Body image is a big one for everyone, male and female, I suppose. I guess on these social media platforms, you see the extremes. And as a result, you know, if you don't fit that kind of image, then maybe you'd feel lesser than others.
Well, when I was at school, when I was young, you'd say like photos never lie. Whereas now, you look at a photo and you can't trust it. There's
Yeah.
people on there, and I think, I know you. You do not look like that. And I think when you're like 20 years time, when you look back at those photos and think that's what you look like, you don't look like that.
Yeah.
It's quite scary, especially for my teenage daughter.
They believe each other. They actually believe it, that people, all these people, they've got all the filters on, and they think that that's I want to look like that.
Yeah.
They never will unless they can stick the filters on the phone.
And then she'll show me her friends on school, like pictures her friends are sending. I go, but you know they don't look like that.
Yeah.
You know them in the flesh.
Yeah. Well, nowadays, there are like AI platforms where you can put your image in and it will make you perfect. I also strongly believe that social media is the reason why so many people, women especially, are getting, you know, enhancement surgeries, procedures done, lips, cheeks, any kind of augmentation, essentially. Yeah, so body image is a big one. Generally, isolation, loneliness, people feeling depressed and anxious as a result of what they see online or how people are interacting with them or how they are interacting.
It's like bullying, you know, because
Harassment.
there's always been bullying, there always will be. But it happened at school or going to or from school, but now they can get home and it's constant. They
Yeah.
get people bullying them online. You
Yeah.
get so many, well, men and like women,
Yeah.
girls and boys like killing themselves.
Yeah, so harassment is a very scary one. On top of that, not just bullying, but you know, you don't necessarily know who you're talking to on the internet. And again, another scary one when we're talking about children on the internet, right? So that's been a massive problem. Division. How much division you see on social media. You know, I personally strongly believe that if you talk to a person who is chronically online, the likelihood is that they probably see more conflict in their world than somebody who isn't. And I say that because if you are constantly inundated with conflict, which you see so much on social media, like whether it is divisive content itself, content made to be divisive, or whether it is people arguing in the comment section or something like that, if you're exposed to that, you're going to feel like there is more of that negativity and hostility out in the world. But realistically, we're in the real world right now. We're not experiencing that here and now, right? And most of the time you won't. But online, it feels very constant.
But even on that, sorry.
It's okay.
But even on, we've got a next door, I don't know if anybody here is on our next door, it's the neighbourhood. You get someone that might just put an innocent comment, like, oh, you know, like, heard like, a load of police sirens
So much negativity, yeah.
They know you can just
I know.
be nice. They have to put rude in the Bible comment.
But you know what? It's the people who they can hide behind
Yes, what's it called? Cowardice.
anonymity and you know, the fact that they're not in person. Like, I believe that not enough people know what it's like to get punched in the face these days, and so as a result feel like they can say whatever online. Last one here. What does that picture make you think? Connection. Yeah, or lack thereof. You know, a lot of the time you'll see families, or you go to a restaurant, look around the restaurant and see what percentage of the people there are on their phone. Yeah, parents, children, whoever. It could be, you know, you're out doing something and the phone comes out. That's one thing that I'm very grateful for when it comes to my friend group. So every Friday we go to the pub. I'm not a big drinker or anything, but we go there just to congregate. And none of us are ever on our phone. I sometimes am when I'm like taking pictures and stuff, but besides from that, we're all just there and present. It's very nice.
I ban phones at meal times if they come to me for a meal.
Yeah, good for you.
No phones.
Yeah.
My kids, we don't use phones at the table. It's just, we need that time to connect with each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sit at the table too.
Yeah. Well, that's you know, we are, and this is another element that I'm going to be talking about in future sessions, is that community that has been lost in a lot of ways because a lot of the things that we do has gone virtual. That's one of the reasons why I like and will continue to do these in-person sessions, because when you're here, you're amongst your peers and you can hear them and talk to them and communicate and hear their experiences and stuff like that. You're not isolated. I think that's a big problem that a lot of people have these days. Now, social media aside, what do you think of AI? And what do you think we can expect moving forwards? A big mess. Why?
It's like they're taking over, isn't it? It just doesn't. I mean, I put up some furniture for sale, and it said it was clean, and something else, and I thought, you don't even know that. You know, it's just an assumption. I wouldn't be selling it if it wasn't
Yeah.
good and clean. And
Yeah. I get you. So that was an AI label.
That's the best one I can think of.
Yeah.
It's really got its good uses.
Yeah?
I think medically there's been progress made with things. So I think it's when it gets out of control that scares me. It's control, and it is going to get out of control.
You're thinking Terminator.
Well, anything is possible.
Yeah, true.
It's very easy when you, like, I've got ChatGPT, and when my dad was dying, I put some things in that, and it was really, it gave me lots of empathy.
Yeah.
And it was like you were talking to a real person. It was quite scary, and
Yeah.
you end up talking to it like it is a real person.
Yeah.
And I was like, actually, you're giving me more sympathy than my husband.
Yeah. But it would, wouldn't it?
Such a tough time for you, and I was like, finally, someone can see it.
Yeah. Well, this is so. What you've just highlighted there is there are people who are forming real relationships with their AI chatbot, whatever it is. Actually, I'm saying that. I'm not going to say that I have a relationship with, but like me and Gemini, Google's AI, we have a bit of a rapport. Like, it knows how to talk to me because it's heard me, like it understands how best to communicate something to me.
But don't you find that scary?
A little bit, yeah, but I'm also like,
I've never used it.
Well,
It keeps coming up on my phone.
yeah.
I've never used it.
Partially, I think it's super cool, and I think that if used correctly, already it has amazing potential. Like a lot of the things that I'm doing right now, I'm using AI to do bits and pieces. Like it's super cool, but it's also super scary. Like there's a lot going on in it. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
See, my husband uses Claude.
Wait, Claude's so good.
And he goes, sometimes he goes, I'm just going to see what Claude thinks.
Yeah,
And I thought, why not ask me?
yeah,
Claude obviously knows, you know, and he's really interesting.
Yeah.
Who's Claude?
Claude is another AI. I use it myself. I can show you a little bit of it.
Oh, so you're really into the AI.
I know some stuff.
Gemini, Claude,
Oh,
what else?
I've used all of them. Claude is by far the best one I've used. Yeah. All right. Gemini and ChatGPT, they're good, right? Copilot's all right, but they are they're very much yes men. They've almost got kind of a maternal feel to them. They're very like, well done, you did good job, I'm here for you. Claude, they've cut away all the fluff, so now it's just really good, but it's more like talking to like a stern father. It's like, that's rubbish, do that again. That needs to be better, but it's very precise. So it will be like, the wording of this is a little bit wrong. Gemini is like, oh darling, don't worry, you just change that. Claude is like, get your head down, do that work. Yeah, it's quite freaky. My point is, they've got personalities. And they have functions that people, even 20 years ago, could only dream of doing. Like, for example, this guy that I've hired to do some work for me, he's making my website. He's using AI to make the website. Don't get me wrong, it's still quite complex and complicated. There's a lot to it. But he's not a coder, like he's not a web designer, but he's making a really great website using this platform. It's crazy. Anyway, that's one part of it. What other things do you think? Have you heard? What are your thoughts?
I think it's like antenna. Sorry,
Go for it.
that's in hacking from them already, aren't they? Antenna.
Sorry, say one more time.
It's in hacking.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's quite scary as well because some of these AIs, you could have your own AI and you could program it to do things yourself. And so hacking is one of those things. And you said medical stuff before, that could be another thing. So there's good and there's bad, I suppose, in what you can use it for.
The kids use it for their own, the kids use it at school for their homework. And
Yeah.
when you try and say to them, it's fine to use it to help you, but not do the homework for you.
Yes.
Then they go, "Oh, I can chat GPT."
Yeah.
And it's done.
Well, this is one of the thoughts that I often have, that what happens to problem solving if you no longer have to solve the problem yourself? Because suddenly, I fall into that sometimes myself, and then I have to be like, no, let me do the research myself. Let me find out myself. Let me read it. Because it's easy to just go write this, do this. Yeah, absolutely.
My sister, though, one that's been here before, she's kind of scared of this sort of stuff, but she's got a problem in her back garden where patio is sinking and raising and all that. So, no, I was so proud of her. I said, she said, oh, I used AI. I'm like, what? Because she's not like, she's petrified. But she was fantastic because she got 3 people round to see it. She knew how much all through AI, she
Yeah.
looked at everything, and they were so shocked. They said, "You've really done your research." She said, "Yeah, AI." I was so proud. I said, "I'm so proud of you because that's not fair at all."
Yeah.
But it's really helped in that respect.
Look, it's a very useful tool. It's just the same kind of problems arise when we're talking about phones generally, right? It's a very useful tool. It's easy to get drawn in to the point where it can become harmful. Like I said, there are people who are forming real relationships. Like when, what organization? I think it was ChatGPT. They reset their model, and there were people who had built real rapport with their AIs, and then when that got taken away, they were like, where is my support? Where is my thing? Like, it can be. And or like on the other side, people who use it for the harassment and bullying that we talked about before. If you can make a picture of anything, you can make a picture of anything, and that is harming people. The voice too. AI, I got a call last week. I get a lot of scam calls. This one, immediately I went, that's an AI voice. I knew it, I just knew it. It's not quite perfect yet, it's a little bit off. It didn't feel human. And I was talking to it because I was intrigued. I wasn't going to give it any information, but I was interested. So I was playing along for a minute. And you can just tell that it's not quite human. But if I wasn't privy to AI, would I have been able to tell? Or would I actually have thought, oh, that's a real person? Yeah, it's scary. It's scary. There's a lot.
5 years from now.
Yes, I won't be able to tell. I won't be able to tell. Probably more like 5, yeah. So with that in mind, with all of this stuff that we've just been talking about, I think it's easy to see why I think that this should be included when we talk about health. Would you agree with that? So that to me, I think is something that we could then take outwards and think about this more often. You know, how often do I look at my phone, for example? So using your phone in a healthier way, that is what I propose here when we talk about phone hygiene. Can you think of ways that you can do this? Can you think of ways that you can use your phone in an even marginally healthier way? Put it down, leave it aside, take some breaks, turn it off. Another one. What else?
Put it on sleep.
Put it on sleep, yeah, and leave it on the radiator. Yeah. What else? Chuck it in the bin. I've got a few suggestions for you. So the first thing we can start to do is looking at the settings, right? And there are things that you can change to make this a more, like a nicer place to be. So I think about your phone, I think about my phone as being very similar to my bedroom. And the reason I say that is because you spend a lot of time in your bedroom, that is your place, right? And if it is messy, how do you feel? But when you clean it, then how do you feel? Much better, right? And it's the same thing with the phones. So would anybody mind if I took a look at the front screen of your phone? Would anybody mind? Because there's something I'm looking for.
You don't like my phone, but you could have it.
This would be
I've got
best.
most of these on
Perfect example. I'm not saying that in a bad way, but perfect example. Okay, so part of the reason why this seminar came about is because my mum's phone is incredibly chaotic. Like, she's got a million notifications, she's got a million apps on 20 different pages. Like, it's a lot of stuff. And I feel like she'd probably be calmer if her phone was calmer, if that makes sense. And I did the same with my phone. So after we finish, I'll take it off and I'll show you some things on my phone to demonstrate what I mean. But let's say that you've had a very long day, a stressful day, and you go onto your phone and you may not, intentionally be looking at all of this, but this is what we see. Right? Just stuff, right? Boom, 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 high frequency stuff. Just look. Now, is that likely to add to your stress or remove it? Right? So this is one example where adjusting some of the settings can really yield positive results. Not that there's anything wrong with this, but you might actually find this to be helpful with this. So, thank you. So, adjusting the notification settings. You will get notifications for everything, every app on your phone, unless you actively remove that and turn that off. You don't have them? Good. You don't need to be told everything that each app wants to tell you. So if you just turn things off and mainly have the imperatives, phone calls, messages, maybe email, stuff like that, suddenly you're getting less of this and it's calmer, right? So that's something that I've changed myself. My mum did that, and she's found it a lot more peaceful when she goes onto her phone. Her battery is also better, but that's beside the point. We could use the do not disturb and focus mode settings. That might have a different name depending on the phone that you use. If I use do not disturb, I can turn that on, and then I will not get any notifications. Something like that would be really useful when you're winding down in the evening. You know, you could actually have it set to come on automatically at, let's say, 6 p.m., and then the evening is suddenly calmer. You won't be getting as much of that noise.
Does that stop phone calls though?
It can do, but you can actually set it so that individual people, like your children, for example, could call you and only their calls would go through. You wouldn't get, you know, work calls or spam calls or something or anything like that. We could set restrictions, time restrictions and app restrictions. So you could go in there and you could say, okay, all of my social media apps, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever it is, I'm going to restrict those to 1 hour per day. And then after that hour, I'm locked out. There is a way of you know, allowing yourself back in, but there's a barrier there. If you know, okay, I've been on it for an hour, then maybe you'll think twice before letting yourself back in. Whereas if you didn't have that, you could probably do 3 hours without thinking about it, which I know from experience. Night shift, very similar. Oh no, sorry. Night shift is the color. So when you go on night shift, I've actually shown you this. Remember when we did the sleep one and I changed the color of my screen? So that's better on the eyes. It makes it less bright blue light and more dim yellow light, which is better for our circadian rhythms, better for falling asleep. So that could be something, again, that you have automatically come on in the evening time when you're going to bed. Last one is grayscale. My brother uses this one. It turns off all of the color in your phone. It makes it all black and white, which for some makes it a little bit easier to stay off of the phone because the color, a lot of the draw, well, it's more boring, I suppose, as well. But the color is what makes our brain like activate a lot of the time. So you take away the color, it might make it a little bit more boring and might make it a nicer place to be. The point is, by changing some of these settings in the phone, you change the way that you interact with it. Because suddenly, you now have less pop-ups, the screen color is different. Even just changing the brightness, turning the brightness down alone could be better on your eyes. These are a few things you can change in the settings. These are a few practical changes that you can make, and maybe this is worth doing. So, for example, one thing you could do is you could remove apps from your home screen. You could also remove apps that you don't need, again, less noise. But for me, if I see Instagram, I click Instagram. I don't want to, but again, I've just grown up alongside this technology. So when, you know, do you ever find yourself going into an app, coming out of that app, going into another app, coming out, and then going back to the original app? Do you ever do that? Right, so I do that with Instagram. So now I delete it. If I do post something, I post it and then I delete the app. The account still is there, but I don't have access to the app, which is what I want. But another thing that you could do is you could just remove it from your screen. So you won't see it there. You actually have to actively search for it. And again, it adds a little barrier to make it a little bit more difficult to access that thing. It works for some, it doesn't work as well for others, but it's quite useful. Sleep away from the phone. Put the phone in another room. For me, I put my phone at the end of my room. I still use it for my alarm, and it's actually quite helpful because it means I have to get out of bed to go and turn off the alarm. But by sleeping away from it, I don't feel as inclined during the night to go and pick it up and look at it. So that's something that's really useful. Organize your apps into folders. I think about it like, what am I trying to think of? If you go into a room and it's just filled with paper everywhere, versus you go into a room and everything is neatly organized into cabinets. Again, you're going to feel better. It's a more hospitable environment. So that could be something that you do. You go in and you organize things. For me, like I said, I'll show you on my phone. I'm very organized in that respect. But it's a nice place to be. I know where everything is. It's comfortable.
All my games are in a folder.
Nice.
All my WhatsApp, not WhatsApp, but like YouTube and all
Yeah.
those things. My doctor's things. And
That's good.
everything. So, but they're all on my front screen.
which isn't a bad thing. At least it's not all kind of, yeah. That's not a bad thing though. That's not a bad thing, but they're organized. Again, it comes back to the room analogy. If your bedroom is tidy and neat, it's a nicer place to be. If you're probably spending more time on your phone than in your room, at least during the day. So again, make it a nice place to be. Clean with alcohol wipes. Just keep it clean, keep it nice. I don't know if you saw, but some of the people in the group chat said that they went and bought alcohol wipes after the last session. A good thing that you could do just to keep it nice and clean. And then lastly, keep your chin up. Like, be aware of your chin. If you're like this and you start to feel that ache back here, keeping that chin up a little bit higher could be a positive thing. Whether you're laid back, whether you're standing, whether you're sitting, that could be really good. But can you see how if I started to implement some of these changes, my relationship with my phone could become a little bit healthier? And even this stuff aside, can you see how being more aware of your own phone use could yield positive results? That's my intention in doing this.
With the alcohol ones, years ago, I've always, first half of my career, always worked in banks. And we used to have people come around, they used to go around the whole bank and they used to clean all of our phones. And they weren't like mobile and proper phones, you know. They used to clean all the cord, they used to come around every week. They were hired to come around and clean every phone.
Interesting.
That was years ago.
I can remember that.
Do you? Yeah, they used to do it, you know. So it's
Interesting.
really, that should have,
We should continue. Well,
with their own.
that's something that we can do ourselves. I do that after training a lot. You know, if I'm training, I'll then take my phone and go home, and then all that sweat and grime and bacteria and stuff is on the phone. So then I have a shower and then I pick my phone back up. It's just, you know, so I've got my alcohol wipes.
It's so sensible, but a lot of people
You wouldn't think it. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so as always, we want to make a plan. So this is the same as everything else we do here. Small, consistent changes make a difference. And even if you do one or two things from today, or even you're just more aware of what we're talking about, that can be helpful. So my aim, as always, we want to break it down, because if I said to you, go forth, improve your attention span and the health of your eyes, that would be a daunting task. That's a lot to take on. So we want to break it down into goals and actions. So a broad goal that would help me work towards this is I want to reduce my screen time and change my settings. A specific version of that is track my screen time and use the settings do not disturb and night mode. Better for my attention, so I'm not constantly inundated with notifications. Better for my eyes, help me sleep potentially. Every week, I will track my screen time and schedule time for phone breaks. So I'm tracking my screen time. Okay, this week I've spent a little bit more time on my phone. I'm going to leave my phone at home for an hour while I go for a walk. That could be a really good use of your time. And then lastly, daily actions. Have do not disturb and night mode come on automatically at 6 p.m. So that's an automated one. That's not even something that you have to do every day, but if you set it up, that change will happen every day, and that alone can improve your relationship and your health because of that, because of your phone. What are your thoughts on that?
I couldn't use the do not disturb
No, you like being,
because
you like knowing that if someone can get in touch with you?
sometimes if something happens to you,
Yeah.
I would want to know if they can't get in touch with you.
Mm.
You know.
I've got a watch, smartwatch, so all my calls will come
Go
to
through
my
there.
desk, which is sometimes is good because I think if I've got it on Do Not Disturb and I see it, I think I don't need to answer that, and so I don't pick up my phone. So in that respect, you're looking at that, but you're not having to get your phone out. So I don't know if it's a good thing or not really.
Well, I guess that just adds an extra thing to look at, right? But I guess you're not going to be, well, I guess maybe in the future, but you're not going to be,
No, you can't scroll.
Yeah.
Like that. You
Yet.
just sort of think,
Yeah.
Give it some time. But please go for it.
I was going to say it is quite good, but it does stop you picking up your phone, because you pick up your phone to do one thing and you end up there.
Doing other things, don't you?
Yeah, yeah,
If you
definitely.
go to an advert or something, or a shop, and you think, oh, I don't need to answer that or anything, or
Yeah.
get it.
But like I said before, it depends on how we're using it and whether we are using it in a healthier way. I personally believe that I still use my phone more than I'd like. However, I'm using it now in a different way. I have no social media on my phone now. I feel better for it. My attention span is better. My mood is better. My desire for that is gone. I feel better. Yeah, it is an instant hit. Now, what I use my phone for is more kind of practical everyday stuff. Like, I use that to schedule my time. I use that to make sure I'm in the right place at the right time. My calendar is on there. My reminders are on there. My notes are on there. You know, all of these things. So in that sense, it's become a very, very useful tool. But I know that if I use it differently, it can have a very negative effect on me. So I think that's the real intention behind today. Whether we're talking about phones, general technology, AI, social media, there's good and there's bad. Recognizing, just like when it comes to like nutrition, recognizing maybe tendencies that you have, recognizing some behaviors that you want to adjust to make sure that they are not affecting you negatively. I think that's the important part. So I hope you've enjoyed today. Thank you very much for coming, everyone. Thank you very much. Appreciate you guys.